Hi everybody, today we are live making a meatloaf. I already have my standard meatloaf mix from the grocery store. And this recipe is going all off the brain. I do not have anything written down for this. So that's gonna be like super exciting too. Just found it that there is some wet on my counter. I don't want my equipment getting messed up. All right. Now, before we get started, we will make sure that we have all of the necessary mise en place, mess in place. Okay, so I have so far my breadcrumbs. Let's get this on the counter here. There we go. No lemons in this recipe. We have our meatloaf. We have our breadcrumbs. And we have an egg. I'm also going to chop up an onion. Yeah, an onion will do. I do have half an onion left over from last night's. We'll chop it all up and see how it goes. So we have our little trash bowl here. And you know what we like to do with our onions? Save the wrapper, well, not the wrappers, but the ends. So we'll also have that in a different bag. Probably throw that in there. So we'll get started. This guy and our cutting board. Why is my counter so wet? So underneath our cutting board, we will have a damp towel. Perfect, because I just mopped up all of this mess. So our cutting board is not sliding around. We're going to take off the outer layer, and this will be saved for our stock for the next soup we decide to make. Sorry, left-handed here, so you won't be able to see my knife skills, but I assure you that they're very rusty. We're going to cut this onion at a small dice. I don't mind leaving it a little extras back in the bowl. And then this goes into the bowl with the meat. Now I do believe that this is a beef and pork sausage blend I got from the grocery store. When we're cutting our onions, we're always going to want to cut the ends off. Save that one. That guy goes in the trash. Never cut off the root. That holds everything together. When you want to chop it in half, you cut it, the root itself, in half. I'm going to use the tinier side. Where did I put my bag? This guy can go back away for later. Again, peel off the outermost layer and dice, small dice. That was not a small dice cut. I remember the first time I made meatloaf for my family. I have a cousin who's a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, and when he was in college, I was taking a culinary class within my high school, and I remember I made meatloaf my first year, for the first time. It was a 2-year program, and I made it while his parents came over for dinner, and they laughed so hard because I large diced my onion, and there was more onion in my meatloaf than there was meat, and they laughed at me and called it an onion loaf. I'll never forget that every time I make meatloaf. It's always a sweet memory of mine. All right, so here we have our meatloaf and our meat. 1 egg. There's a bit of shell in there. Got him. Another bit of shell. Oopies. After that, we're going to use, I've made my own Italian blend with my plain panko breadcrumbs. You can always just use the Italian breadcrumbs for panko, 1/2 cup right in there. All right, that's all starting to look pretty good. While I am in the fridge, I'm going to grab out some mustard, some ketchup, and a glass of eggnog to sip on while we're here. I'm gonna grab some sour cream, good secret ingredient. Let's see what else. No, I think I'm gonna put some bacon in this as well. You want eggnog? I'll give you a glass of eggnog as well.
As well.
Here. I want a glass too. All right. And I forgot my mustard. Mustard, mustard, mustard. Where did I put you? Now, normally in this recipe, I will do white yellow mustard, or well, yellow mustard, but I like the stone ground chunky mustard. I don't have any yellow mustard in the house currently, so I'm just gonna have to deal. Let's pour us a glass of eggnog. Now, I know this is kind of like a huge no-no, but it is the holidays. So a little bit of box Chardonnay in there. Cheers. That sucks. But I'm gonna drink it anyway. Chardonnay and eggnog do not go. I wish I had rum. So, while we are here, I'm going to take my pan. Now, I accidentally bought this black peppercorn, like, bacon. My son does not like it. I'm not a fan of black peppercorns on my bacon either. So, it's up to me to decide. We're not wasting it. We're just gonna do something different. Now, this is my favorite way to cut bacon. Gonna get these camera angles correct one of these days. All right, bacon, right? Easiest way to make bacon bits is scissors, for me, honestly. And I did not add any pepper into my meat, but there is salt added into the meatloaf blend. It came with the Italian herb grinder that I used. Non-existent. I hate paper towels. All right, so we have this. This is going onto the stove. We're gonna crisp these babies up really quick. And back onto here, about 2 teaspoons of or tablespoons of my ginger infused avocado oil. Goes right in there. And from here, since my hands are washed, we get to do the fun part, get a little messy and mix. I forgot to add the sour cream. That's okay. So we want to like fully incorporate all the ingredients. Give it a good mix around. The egg acts as a binding agent, like a glue. Also, same with the breadcrumbs. So we got that. All nice. One giant meatball, yeah. In the bowl. I love how it splats. All right. All right, so I'm gonna have to wash my hands again, but I didn't want to touch my sour cream. I bought this for tacos last night and totally forgot to put it out. I was like eating my tacos and I know something's missing from there. Yeah, this is curdling. No Chardonnay in your eggnog. All right. giant tablespoon sour cream right in there. It gives it some extra moisture and a good little like tang. The ketchup and the mustard and brown sugar, which I'm about to grab. That's going to be for the next step in this process, and that's going to be the glaze. So the glaze is like super simple. You just get a good couple of healthy squirts of ketchup in here. I am running out. I would say like 4 tablespoons. Gonna need more ketchup. All right. And then a good 2 tablespoons of mustard. More or less, if you, depending on how much you like mustard. I like mustard. And then over here to our bacon, we're just going to give that a quick stir. Because that also has to be incorporated into our meatloaf, into the meat of the meatloaf. So I'm not going to get my hands in there just yet. There we go. So onto the glaze. This is going to be set aside. The glaze is our next focus. Okay, so the glaze is just some ketchup and mustard. Need my stool. Along with some brown sugar. Now, depending on your taste, how sweet you like it. Oh, my brown sugar is not moist anymore. All right, if you run into the same issue that I'm running into now with your brown sugar not being like brown sugary, the recipe for brown sugar is like really super easy. It's literally granulated sugar and molasses. Mix it up. The amount of molasses is how dark you like your brown sugar. If you want to get your brown sugar back to a brown sugar consistency, this is all like sand. What you're going to want to do, take a paper towel, fold it up into a nice little square, rectangle, wet it, and toss it in there. The brown sugar will take up the moisture. These containers are ancient. Back to the bacon. Bacon's looking done. I'm using too many paper towels today. So we're going to take our bacon, we're going to put it out on a paper towel. Usually I save my bacon grease. I have a whole jar full of this stuff. It's not happening today. So this goes into our meatloaf. But before we do that, we're going to finish our glaze. Just give this a little mix. Everything, give it a chance to dissolve. We'll give it another mix in a few. And we're gonna add our bacon bits. Oh, it's hot. Into our meat. I only use 2 strips of thick bacon. You can use more or less based on your taste. Cooking is about to taste. Not exact measurements. All right, and then we're gonna get in here. I'm not even gonna worry about drying my hands. All right, so we're gonna get in here and just put the bacon bits with the sour cream and just mush it in. Now you don't have to use your hands. I like to get a little dirty. I also think I want to add like maybe a tablespoon or 2 of flour. Some people like to do that. I'm already here mixing. I'm just gonna not. But you see that tablespoon of sour cream is really like making it creamy. Yummy. All right, make our giant meatball again. And we wash. So from here, I'm going to leave this paper towel out to the side. So I'm tired of using paper towels already. All right. So from here, we're going to grab a pan, preferably a loaf pan, and we're going to, my oil's over here, we're going to grease this up. Grease this up. I like using my garlic oil. My fun little paintbrush is right here. All right, I take our little pastry brush, and we can just get all the corners, all of the sides, even the top. Hate scrubbing off those little like specks on the top. All right. Go back to our meatloaf, and we're just gonna slap her in there. Now, what you can do is you can wet your hands, and this is how we shape it. You get that nice, pretty, classic meatloaf look. Shaping your meatloaf. And the meat won't stick to your hands when there's water. Kind of like smooths it around. All right. And we are done with that. is how our beautiful little meatloaf looks so far. Now we go over to our glaze. Let's give it another quick like mix. Make sure that all those clumps of brown sugar have been evenly crushed. And I'm gonna give it a little taste. Yes. As you taste it, make sure. Do I want more ketchup? Do I want more mustard? Do I want it sweeter with more brown sugar? Because now we're at the point of no return. We are going to spoon on top of our meatloaf. I forgot to preheat my oven. Isn't that wonderful? Anyway, we are going to spoon on top of the meatloaf the glaze. You don't have to use all of it. You can use all of it. The glaze is absolutely delicious. I don't see why you wouldn't want to use all of it. I'm going to use all of mine. It makes like such a nice, first off, it keeps your meatloaf like juicy. And it just adds like such a nice texture. To the meat. Keeps everything really tasty. And here we are, glazed meatloaf. Now it's starting to look like a meatloaf instead of like a doom monster. All right, so this goes into a preheated oven at 350 degrees. That I forgot to do. And that should go in there for like, I'd say you could check it after like 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So while we wait for that, I figured let's make some sides with this meatloaf. Why not some mashed potatoes? Because nothing goes better with meatloaf than a good mashed potato. So, onion. Giant russet potato. It's just me and my son here. So, we are going to only need one potato. One honkin' potato. Potato is washed. Towel is laid out. Now, before we do that, let's get over to the oven. And we can boil some water. So for your mashed potatoes, you're gonna want a pot. This is just for the two of us. Fill it up with cold water. Cold water, always. We are going to heavily salt the living crap out of this water. And when I say heavily salt, don't be a baby about it. Put the salt setting to the open mouth. There we go. And just dump away. This is flavor. Flavor, flavor, flavor. Yes, my blood pressure is going up just looking at it. I hear you. I get it. But it's good. Next. Here we go. We cut our potato. Just gotta wash off my knife. Knives never go in the dishwasher. It will dull your blade, and you want a nice sharp blade to do stuff like that with. Now, I leave my skin on for my mashed potatoes. I kind of screwed up in doing that, but you're gonna want uniform large dice on this. These guys might just get a little mashier than the others, but for the rest of this potato, we are going to do a large dice, which is like about the size of your fingernail to the tip of your thumb. Do not cut off the tip of your thumb and measure to make a large dice. In there. Now with this guy, he's gonna have to like kind of go this way. That was a little too small. Yes, I judge my own knife cuts. All right. I feel like horizontal cuts a lot easier for me than vertical cuts. Like I can measure it so much easier horizontally instead of vertically. Get over here, get over here. All right. Final piece. All right, here, and then we get this, we give it a good little whirl, mix in all that salt, and boil the living nuts out of it. Onto the burner on high. Fast boil burner, of course. These two can go off to the side. And while we are here, why don't we... Forgot to cut my onion. But yeah, while we are here, why don't we just put away our breadcrumbs? I'm just going to put them right back in the panko box. Because, I mean, who uses plain breadcrumbs? What do you plain panko in? I'm going to deep clean my spice cabinet. So yeah, why plain panko? Like the Italian all the way. The cinnamon sticks just flew out at me, you know, because they're like, oh hey, 'tis the season for your dad to make moonshine. Yes, he makes apple pie moonshine. They call it moonshine, but it's the stuff that you buy in the liquor store. Again, another bit of onion. Very oniony night tonight in the household of the MarMar candy bar. But we are making a loaded mashed potato. I am very thinly slicing this onion. And then from those, I'm just going to dice it out. Like half of a, well, that whole russet potato. I don't want too many onions in my... You're always aiming for bite-sized pieces. Always. And that goes with salad. That goes with like anything really that you're cooking. That's like not like steak or chicken, like cutting into bits. You want bite-sized pieces. And this goes back. We're going to take out our sour cream once again. Because, you know, I'm just winging dinner. Like, this is not... Like, when I come on stream like this, make a video, anytime I'm in the kitchen, I'm really just, like, winging it. I feel like that's, like, the best dinner is, like, or the best meal is when you're just, like, what do I got? Let's see what's in there. Okay. So we have the onion. What container am I going to mash my potatoes in? I'll use this guy. I was going to use this, but I feel like it might be small. And the masher and just... Maybe I'll just leave the onion off to the side. I do wonder if I have garlic. For my garlic. I do want garlic in my mashed potato. Nope, didn't pick any up at the store. Still waiting for this to preheat. It looks like it's preheated. So now that we're here, come on, stay. All right, now that we're here, we're going to take our meatloaf and put it in our preheated oven. We are going to set a timer for 30 minutes and we're going to check it in there. If you have a thermometer, don't use it. Anyway, so we are waiting for our potatoes to boil. So let's move over here and let's go and check on those. The water is not quite boiling yet. They'll be good when you can shove a fork in them and it's soft. Currently, they are still hard. Let's see what other sides we can make for today. Well, no, that's too many potatoes. We're going to make glazed carrots from a can. Yeah, don't hate. I like canned carrots. I like canned green beans as well. So, inside, it's had the drawer. I got my can opener. You're going to rip open this can. Leave all of the water. And this will make a fully rounded meal. Okay. Sorry. The carrots with all the water into a pot. Now I like ginger, honey, glazed carrots. So this is one of my favorite dishes to make as a side dish. Here are our carrots. See, here's the bacon grease I was telling y'all about earlier. You cook with it. Ginger. Easy goes at potatoes. I just saw my ginger. Get down, King. All right. The potatoes are boiling. You can't see it. Ginger? Yes, ginger. Okay. Now you're gonna, depending on how much you like ginger, I like ginger. You're going to add the amount that you like. For me, I want to say like 2 tablespoons of ground powdered ginger. And then also in this, our potatoes are boiling. Some raw honey. Maybe about a tablespoon. We're gonna give this a little stir, and we're gonna heat this up to boil. Just fully incorporate everything. While we're here, we're gonna stab our potatoes. Check for doneness. Not quite there yet. Since this boiling is really like gonna start rolling, I'm going to dump a little bit of the water out. They were partying a little too hard. So we have our ginger, carrots, and our potatoes are boiling. Our meatloaf is still in the oven. Give it like another 20 minutes. Looking at the clock. 5:30 will do it. 25. So yeah, all of this is here. All of this is going. We have plenty of time. I will take a short break and we will be right back. I do not have the scene. Well. All right, we're back. So while we were away, our carrots did start boiling. We're gonna give these a quick little stir. Turn down the heat. I do want to like boil off a lot of the water, but we're also gonna strain them. Our potatoes, we're also gonna do a quick check on. And they are soft, so they are ready to strain as well. And to head over into the bowl for mashing. Let's get that ready. We're gonna wanna make some room in the sink because we are gonna wanna strain everything. Keep those carrots at a boil and strain out the potatoes. Stop the cooking, cold water. Now, some people don't like the skins. I love the skins. If you don't like the skins, you're gonna want to peel your potatoes before you throw them into the boiling water. I'm adding my onions. Some sour cream. I'm gonna do 2 heaping tablespoons of sour cream. And we're gonna grab our masher and mash away. After this, also salt and pepper. Now, if I had cooked more bacon bits, I would have put some aside to make loaded mashed potatoes. I am gonna grate some cheese into this because cheese is great. Depending on the consistency that you like your mashed potatoes, I like mine chunky. My son likes them chunky. We're gonna keep them chunky. Now we're going to make some ghetto buttermilk. Or like quick, easy buttermilk. I don't know. We're gonna make some buttermilk. So I'm gonna add like about 1/4 cup of milk into my measuring cup. And then we're gonna add like literally 1/2 of a teaspoon of vinegar. And just let that, give it a swirl and let it sit for a few minutes. Our carrots are boiling away on the stove behind me. We're gonna give that a quick little stir as well. And while we're here, rinse out our strainer from the potatoes. And that's going to be used for our carrots to strain. Give these another quick little stir. You're going to want your milk to curdle a little bit. We're going to strain our carrots. And then right back into the same pot. Because these are not done yet. While we wait as well, we're going to take our onions from earlier, the onion scraps, and we're going to add them to our stock bag. This is my secret weapon for awesome vegetable broth. Or any kind of broth. I stick all my leftover Thanksgiving bones and whenever I make a chicken, those bones, vegetable scraps because I only cook fresh. Back to our carrots. We are going to put them back on with the flame off. A little extra ginger to top them off. And just a drizzle of honey. Give that a nice little stir. And our carrots are done. Back to the counter. We are ready for our buttermilk, which has a little bit of Italian herbs in it, but it's all lumpy. We're gonna add that little by little just dump the whole thing. It's okay if it's curdled, that's the whole point. And this will add a delicious flavor and consistency to your homemade mashed potatoes, along with the sour cream. Now, if you find that they're a little loose, like the potatoes are a little more loose than you like, you can always add half a teaspoon of cornstarch. That will bring it all back together to a thicker mashed potato. Next, we're going to season these, some salt and pepper. I'm going to do pepper in my Italian herb grinder. I think this guy's out of pepper. So we're going to add some pepper in here. And this is Italian herbs with sea salt. There we have it. Give that a good mix. Another spoon. And of course, taste it. Yes, these are delicious. You can always caramelize your onions also. I like the bite of the not caramelized onions, but the caramelized onions also has a really good texture. We're gonna pop our carrots into a matching dish. And these are our ginger honey glazed carrots. And our sides are done. We're gonna pop them into the microwave. And just to keep them warm. I'm gonna run it for like 30 seconds just to keep it at a warm temperature to hold the food. So our next step now is we're gonna grab our meat thermometer that doesn't have dead batteries. Trusty little meat thermometer. And we're gonna check on our meatloaf. Don't you dare. Thing loves to fall. Oh, that smells divine. Okay. Here's our meatloaf. At the thickest part, we're going to insert our thermometer. And we want it over 145 degrees. So meatloaf is not quite there yet. We're gonna drop it back in to the oven. I'm gonna pop up the temperature here to 400, just to get a nice little crisp of that glaze that we put on earlier. This meatloaf might take like another 20 minutes. You can check out my YouTube video when I post after this live stream, and I will show you guys the finished products of the dinner. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tune in. Check me out on Twitter, on Twitch, YouTube Live, and I'm also on Kick. My Facebook page as well, MarMar Candy Bar. And that's where I'm going to post all the times that I'll be streaming and that I'm in the kitchen. And also, you know, some sneak peeks on recipes as well. Thank you so much for watching.